Hello everyone, today I want to talk about practical ways that you can shift your identity so that you can manifest faster. So if you are familiar with the law of attraction and manifestation and how it works, you're always going to hear the saying that you do not attract what you want, you attract what you are. So the best way to speed up your manifestations is to change who you are and to change your dominant vibration. And you might be thinking, what are the best ways to do this? Are there certain techniques or certain practices that you can do regularly in order to start changing your identity? And definitely there is, so I'm going to share with you the top ways to change your identity. Changing your identity for most people, I find, can be a process. It rarely happens in a day. I'm not saying it's impossible, but my greatest piece of advice would be to have patience with yourself, because you have been programming yourself for years and years, building your identity since childhood. So for you to peel back the layers and radically shift your identity is going to take time, and it's going to take a lot of focused effort. Really be patient with yourself in this process and know that every day that you do these daily practices, you are getting closer and closer to shifting your identity permanently. The beautiful thing about it is when you realize that you've shifted your identity, it's kind of like you don't even notice, if that makes any sense. Just one day, it's like you wake up, you look in the mirror, and you actually realize that you manifested what you wanted and that you are actually a completely different person. And it just happened so gradually because you were so engaged in the process of it that it's kind of like it almost snuck by you, your awareness. That's kind of what I've noticed about my own experience shifting my identities. I would say that the number one practice or practical technique is simply changing your day-to-day dialogue and actually what you're thinking about. And I know you might be like, this is so obvious, but it works, and it's actually a lot harder than you think. I always say in all my videos, it's so important for you to have awareness, to work on your presence and your awareness, because as soon as you become aware of your inner dialogue, that's when you can change it. And as soon as you change your inner dialogue, that is when you are infiltrating your subconscious mind. And as you know, as soon as your subconscious mind is transformed, you're transformed, and thus your life is transformed. So your inner dialogue is really one of the foundational pillars of changing your life. So I changed my inner dialogue over time. I actually did this quite subconsciously. One of my biggest manifestations was manifesting changing my appearance. As you guys know from previous videos, I struggled with self-esteem issues, with not feeling beautiful, with not being happy with how I looked physically. And over a period of, I would say, about 5 years, I dramatically changed and transformed my appearance. And the number one way I did this was I was constantly thinking about the most beautiful version of myself that I wanted to be. So I created a future version of myself in my imagination, and I connected with that version every single day. I connected with my future self. And because I was connected to this future version of myself, I was always focused and thinking about ways to change my appearance. So skincare routines, anti-aging routines, because I'm 31 now, healthy diet. I was just really into all this information about how to best take care of my body to be the most beautiful version of myself. I struggled with acne, so I was always thinking about different ways to cure my acne. And it was just simply my focus on it that manifested it. And sometimes that's really all it takes, is changing your day-to-day inner dialogue and your day-to-day focus. And that automatically changes your subconscious mind and your identity. So if you want to know more about how I was able to use the law of attraction to change my appearance, I have 2 videos on that on my channel, and I will put them at the end of this video. Another technique is affirmations. As you might know, repetition is a powerful, powerful way to change your subconscious mind, change your core beliefs, and thus change your identity. affirmations can be tricky, as I've said. Sometimes you just don't believe them when you say them, and you really do have to have the belief and the emotion to really imprint that on your subconscious mind. But I have found that even if you don't believe it at first, if you keep repeating it over and over, eventually your subconscious mind will surrender to it and you will eventually accept this belief. And again, this worked with changing my appearance. It was also another factor. I would constantly tell myself, I am beautiful, every single day, even when I didn't believe it at first. And I eventually adopted this belief. And one day I woke up, looked in the mirror, and I could say I am beautiful and not have any resistance to that affirmation. Like, I actually believed it, and I actually realized that it was part of my core beliefs about who I was. So affirmations can be so powerful. I would suggest maybe focusing on one or two, just so that you can repeat it over and over and over and really concentrate on that one goal that you have in your life. So mine too, where I am beautiful and I am loved, and I've had no problems with those areas of my life ever since I started saying those affirmations, and I still say those affirmations to this day. The next technique is visualization. Visualization is incredibly powerful, but I want to point out that you have to imagine with emotion and with feeling. Otherwise, it's not going to work as well. So you got to get really good at evoking elevated positive emotions such as gratitude, joy, excitement, passion. I find gratitude is the most powerful and the easiest to evoke, but hands down visualization works. Sometimes it doesn't work in the time frame that you would prefer, but it does work. I can totally guarantee and promise you that. I have visualized so many things that, to me, at the time when I was visualizing, I had no idea how I was going to make this happen in my life. I just, to me it seemed like almost impossible when I was visualizing it, but I surrendered those beliefs. I just immersed myself in the visual that I wanted to experience in my future, and it came true. Like, I'll just give you an example. One of the most difficult things I manifested was working from home full time online, and I had this dream since I was 24 years old. I would always have this visual of me in Starbucks or in some cafe. I love the atmosphere of cafes. I have loved cafes since I was like 18 years old. But I always envisioned myself sitting by a window at a really nice cafe. I could smell the coffee. I could hear the customers. It was hustle and bustle. I could hear kind of like the generic background music in the cafe. And I was sitting by a window and I had my laptop in front of me. And I was working because I made a living online and I didn't have to work a normal job, because at the time I was working minimum wage jobs when I had this visualizations, and I didn't know how I was going to do this. I didn't know anything about making money online, how to make money online, but I really just had that dream that I would one day be working for myself and I would not have to be in the matrix or be in the rat race, and I could truly just, work from home. And that is a reality for me now. I realized that dream has come true. And so I just want to give you guys hope. Whatever you imagine with feeling has to come to pass. As long as it's imprinted on your subconscious mind, it has to come to pass. That is law. Now, if you're more impatient, you think that these ways are too slow, and you have more of a go-getter kind of mindset and you're not afraid to shake things up, you're more adventurous, there's radical ways that you can also shift your identity by doing radical things in your life. So let's say that you have a fear of public speaking. It's one of your goals to become a skilled public speaker who has excellent communication skills. Well, a great way to kind of shift your identity and break free from that is to join Toastmasters, or to maybe start a YouTube channel where you throw yourself into the activity. And yes, it's going to be extremely uncomfortable. You're going to be facing your fear head on. It does work to dramatically transform and shift your identity very fast. Another example is, let's say that you're not very good with picking up women. This is often encouraged in the pickup community, is that if you're shy and kind of like socially awkward and you aren't good at picking up women, the best way to transform your identity of thinking that you're bad with women is to just go into a bar and hit on women and get used to being rejected till you're no longer afraid of it. Then once you're not afraid of it anymore, the fear isn't there anymore, you can actually start developing the skill of being a ladies' man, and then your identity will be dramatically shifted. And you could do this in a matter of a week, right? So that is another strategy depending on what you are trying to manifest. But the point is, of all of these techniques, is you want to step into the feeling of being the person that has what you are trying to manifest. So if you're trying to manifest money, you have to step into the feeling of what that person would feel like if they had abundant money. Money was not a concern. Money was your friend. You feel rich. You have to really feel that. That is the whole point of all of these techniques, is that you emotionally invest in your future self that's going to experience this manifestation. Another example I heard was, I think his name is Dan Locke. He has like a finance business channel. He said that when he was first starting his journey of becoming a, multi-millionaire, of wanting to be really successful, rich, he rented a limo, even though he couldn't necessarily afford it, and took a ride in the limo, and it gave him the feeling of being rich, and he was able to embody that feeling by him riding in the limo, which was a very radical decision, but it shifted him, it changed his vibration so that he knew what it felt like to be rich and wealthy, and because he liked that feeling so much, it propelled him to go after his goals, and his manifestations came faster because he was more in alignment. So a kind of like a more practical way to do this is like maybe go to Starbucks, or maybe go to like maybe a more high-end restaurant, or maybe just buy better quality things for yourself that, say, if the rich version of you bought it, it would be like whatever. Kind of like that. Just like the point is that you can embrace that feeling of luxury and of abundance and of limitlessness. So I hope that these tips helped. I know that you might have heard them before, but they really do work. Repetition, affirmations, visualization, and really feeling the feeling. These are all effective ways to shift your identity. Okay guys, I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all in the next.